Well, good evening, everyone. This is Aaron Renner, Vice President of Worldwide Sales for Sisel International, and I am so excited to be on the call with you tonight. I'm really excited because we've got people from around the world. This message that Tom is about to share with you is going to revolutionize the world that we live in, and when we start talking about Nobel Prize-winning formulations and we start talking about reversing the aging process, what a great opportunity and what a great chance for us to be here. You know, as a matter of fact, we had to mute the call a few minutes ago because there was so much chatter in the background that nobody could have a word in edgewise. As a matter of fact, when I tried to say that we were going to take about 5 minutes, nobody could hear me, and it's an exciting time for us to be here. As a matter of fact, we always say that, you know, success really comes when opportunity meets those who are prepared, and we are prepared right now to launch this incredible discovery. You know, Tom Mower's done it. He's done it before. He continues to see great opportunities in research and development and in science. And we are an evidence-based product company. We put out products that truly have the evidence behind them to really drive the right behaviors to get people excited. It has to be the doses that the amounts of ingredient that will give us what we need in order for it to have the biological effects inside the body. And tonight you're going to hear about one of what we consider to be, could potentially be the game changer. We know that we've watched Tom Sr. for years and years and years put out products that have changed the world that we live in. He's stuck to his guns. He's always been focused on educating, informing, and empowering people in different ways in different parts of their lives. And right now you guys are about to hear it. So I am so excited. We've been working feverishly on getting documentation out, preparing materials, trying to get the order forms ready, trying to make sure that we're prepared to give you guys what you'll need to support this launch. And, you know, Tom always says, and I always say, as you guys know, but, you know, when you've got the candy factory next door, you can build any kind of candy you want. And Tom owns it, and he's got it right there sitting in his backyard. And about a month ago or so ago, he started preparing this formulation, testing it, and trying to identify the materials needed. And it is absolutely one of the most incredible, dynamic product that you guys are going to hear about tonight. So I am so excited. I don't want to waste any more of your time. I want to get you right on the phone with Tom Mower Sr. So everybody, Tom Mower Sr.
Well, hello everybody. This is Tom. I'm sitting here home, way up in the mountains, Rocky Mountains here in Utah, and we had one whale of a snowstorm last night. I mean, a really big one. Knocked power out and everything else. So I'm hoping that my phone system is coming across good enough so you can hear me. I was about going to go down to the office, so we had we've been having the driest winter in history, literally, and no snow on the ground in the latter part of January, and then suddenly it drops about 3 feet of really wet snow yesterday. But here's the situation. We have this greatest discovery in the history of human health, in my opinion. Why? Because scientists are saying just exactly that. And it won a Nobel Prize just 2 years ago, in 2009, as the greatest discovery in the area of medicine. And what it has to do is with their telomeres. And we all know what chromosomes are and DNA that's in our body. And so researchers, for a long time, they weren't quite sure what telomeres were. They knew they were the ends, the tip on a chromosome. And so as they were examining them, they found that as the cell became old, it was losing units, or literally they were shortening up. And so the shorter they got, the slower the cells were in duplication. And finally got down to a certain point of where the stem cells, they're kind of like a mother queen bee, if you can think of it that way. And we have stem cells in our body, and those are the cells that keep putting out new cells all of the time to replenish the cells in all of the tissues within our body. And so as a consequence, they're all regulated by these telomeres. And they didn't completely understand it until just a few years ago. And when they did, then they saw the telomere units were becoming shorter and shorter and less of them, until the point of where the 100 trillion cells that are in our bodies no longer could be refreshed by the limited number of stem cells that were producing new cells. And so you lose in a year's time, you've pretty well turned over most of the cells in your body. And so they have to be refreshed, and that's the purpose of stem cells. And so as a consequence, you get to a certain point where you don't have enough stem cells left, and your tissues break down, and you're right there to the point of dying. So these researchers, where they got their Nobel Prize, is they looked at what reactions were going on with the cell within the chromosomes, and they found out that a compound, an enzyme called telomerase, was rebuilding these units. And so when they started adding telomerase to the cells, then the units would start to increase on the tips of the chromosomes. So the number of units which were deteriorating then would slow down, stop, and then they'd start to build back. So they went into a series of animal studies to find out that it appears to be in all mammals that this structure is there. And then they found out in many types of other types of animals besides mammals, and even in plants, telomeres have a tremendous amount to do with the cells and their duplication rate. And the older you were, the less telomere units you had. So they came to the idea, is it possible that if you could make if you could rebuild the telomere units, if telomerase could do that, if the slowing down of telomerase indeed would allow the cell, or let the cells deteriorate and degenerate, would the speeding up of telomerase in the cells start to rebuild those units? What is the purpose of it? And they found out that was the purpose of this enzyme, telomerase, to rebuild or maintain the units on the chromosomes. Now that's a brief overview, but a stem cell has a limited life. In other words, it will duplicate about 60 different times, and then after that, there aren't enough telomere units left for it to keep on duplicating, and it stops. And when it stops, of course, that's less cells being produced for the body to replenish the ones that are dying. You have millions dying every day in your body, and so to refresh those, it takes a lot of stem cells producing a lot of new cells. So they went in and did some animal studies, and as they would start to inject telomerase into animals whose telomeres were aged or they could even alter their telomeres, degrade them, they found that animals that were very old, and there's a study that's we'll have on our site, you can see it, with a couple of mice the same age. And the one mouse is very old, and it's lost about 25% of its brain size. And its coat is gray, and hair is thin, and it's old and lethargic. And the other mouse was the same way it was, at the same point. And they started putting telomerase into them, and the mouse started putting it in one of them. And in the mouse they put it in, it became a young mouse again. Its hair all thickened up, the gray went away, the brain size returned to its full size, and it had the vitality and energy in that of a young mouse. And they looked at the organs and the tissues and all of the structures, and they were rebuilding themselves because these telomere units were there so the cells could duplicate, and literally they had reversed aging in mice. Now remember, this is only a 2-year-old study that received the Nobel Prize, so they haven't had long enough studies to do it in humans, but already they're finding tremendous effects that doctors are doing with patients, and they're on the way to attempting to make a prescription drug if they can find a synthetic molecule to perhaps duplicate one that could activate telomerase, or on the other hand, they can produce telomerase. And you can go to a doctor right now and you can have a series of telomerase injections into your body. I don't know how many it takes. Maybe you have to do one every day or maybe every week. I don't know. But with that, they can start to rebuild these telomere units. Unfortunately, it costs about $2,000 a month for that. It's a little pricey for most people. If you got the money, I'd certainly spend it myself. But that's a lot. Then they want to give you, then you have to pay your doctor. And I think the fees for doctors set up is like $500 for the initial session that you go through, and then there's laboratory fees, and those laboratory fees, I saw them because they're being promoted on the internet. They run from about $4,000 to $8,000 for a year, so that's terribly expensive, and it would preclude most people from being able to use it. So a firm started looking at this, and they thought a big firm out of California, and they're into genetic research, and Geron is the name of the company, and they started looking at ways to see if they could activate the telomerase in the body by a new dietary supplement. And so as they went through numbers that had the potential of doing that, they found one. And it was an extract. It could be that occurred naturally in a Chinese herb called astragalus, but it was in such minute forms that they had to extract it from a very large volume of material to get enough to work with. But as they did, and they started to concentrate these enzymes from astragalus, they're called astragalosides. These astragalosides, as they concentrated them and would give enough, and they came to an equation of where it took so much to rebuild so many units, and they figured it out for the different types of or ranges of age classes. And as they did, then they started providing this to people, and they had a profound effect with it. And it's very dose dependent, depending on the age groups. Between 30 and 40, there's a very minimal age. And then after that, for about every 10 years, you have to, older that you have to double up and then double up on that, or add it that much more again, and then another 10 years, that much more again. But the cost is a heck of a lot less. So if you're between 30 and 40, you can get this product from a doctor, and it's called TA65. That's the name of the product. They have a marvelous amount of information on their website, but the ingredient is for a nutritional supplement, if you want to call it nutritional. It's certainly a complementary, powerful, natural medicine. But with it, they're selling it for $219 for a month's supply. So if you're between 30 and 40, that's what it costs you to maintain your telomeres or to support them at the level for maintenance. But if you're 40 to 50, then it's going to double up. It's going to run approximately $400, a little bit of a discount there. And then between 50 and 60, it's about $600. And then 60 and 70, it's not quite $800 for it. And that's about the range that it goes. So it progressively gets more and more. So, but if you compare it to telomerase injections from doctors, it's a lot less expensive. And in addition to that, you're certainly not giving injections all of the time. And the battery of tests and things that you go through with the doctor is essentially the same with this. So you can get the testing, you can see your telomeres start to increase. Well, the science was so good that Geron has come out and they patented it. And they patented it for drug use. And we got a copy of the patent. And I actually knew about astragalosides for a long time because I used them in my previous company in some formulations that I did, but I didn't realize that this concentration, of course nobody did at that time, it's talking about 15 years ago, could have such a profound effect on supporting human health. And here's the key. We need to talk about supporting human health. So what they came to a conclusion on with this patent that they patented, that they could reverse many types of diseases, and actually reversing aging. Not necessarily reverse the disease, I beg your pardon, and no one knows on that yet because it's so new, so that's the wrong statement. What they believe in theory they can do is many, as they said in their statements, was that many diseases that occur are because of a degeneration in the telomere units that are in each chromosome. And the way they talked about it, and they have a good analogy with it, we have a video we put out with William Shatner introducing it, and then they go through it with the Dr. Park, and it's a very interesting video, and you should all view that so you can understand a little more thoroughly. And he goes through it, and he talks about, and he shows telomeres on chromosomes, and it shows it in an older person. Then he shows them when he starts it on their product TA65, and then you see over a period of time that the units are just increasing dramatically in it. And then he has some people that are on there talking about it. And he's got a guy that's really older, and he comes on and he's talking about, well, I don't wear glasses anymore. I've gotten rid of my glasses, and because my eyesight's just come back the way it was when I was younger. And so then the doctor flips up Dr. Park, he flips up a computer screen and he shows, yeah, and this is why his eyes are coming back. And he says, see, this is building up. So actually, the lining, the cornea on the eyes is actually starting to get thicker and softer and more pliable. And some of the factors that happen that are degenerating in the eye, now they're just going the other way. And he's doing that off all of these tests. He has it charted. It's very impressive. And he makes a very good point. He says, as the telomeres units are rebuilt within this, then all of these cells start to refurbish and replenish the cells in the body. And one thing that you see will happen is the changes for most people are beginning to occur at about 5 to 6 months, to where they're occurring, but you're not seeing any visible effect in them until about 5 or 6 months for most people, of course, depending on age. Some of the older people might see it faster, and of course they're taking heavier doses of that. And as I said, it's dose dependent. So what he says, which I thought was very interesting, he says wrinkles really start to go away. Well, wrinkles really don't go away, but the appearance of them probably does, because a wrinkle is an oxidative damage that has occurred, and you get a new bond there. But he explained it so that it made sense to me, and I think this is how it's working. He says, here's what happens with a person over a very short period of time. And he was talking, if I can remember correctly, about like in a 6-month period or so, or a little longer, a person has about a 40% increase in the density of the skin. In other words, it has gotten thicker, but it has also become softer and more elastic and more pliable. And as that happens, the wrinkle just pushes up. And so that the wrinkle is, and like a lot of cosmetic products try to film the skin, so you keep in water so that it pushes it up, and that's only a temporary thing. It's bad for the skin. But here you have, as you're getting young, viable skin again, that's coming back, and the wrinkles are just disappearing in appearance for significantly, just because the skin itself is, it becomes older and brittle, and now that is becoming softer and thicker and more flexible, and the wrinkles are really start to diminish in a very visible appearance. He also said that, and some other researchers have too, that discolorations on the skin and things that occur over a period of time just start to seem to disappear. I guess I'm afraid to make a drug claim on this thing because we can't. That's structure function claim. But you can always say things seem to disappear. They look. And the key to this, and talking about the product, is it supports telomeres. That's how we're going to have to say it. Now, with the product the doctors are selling on astragalosides, their TA65, they make all kinds of claims, which in my opinion are drug claims, and it's not approved as a drug. But the patent has it approved as a drug for many different functions in the human body. But in reality, I don't think they can legally, well, they're making them. Maybe they can legally make them, but without getting the drug approval, it's too new. I mean, drug approvals are about 15 years, and you'll spend on drug approval like that, I'll bet you spend a couple $1 billion. So they're going beyond, but maybe because it's a nutraceutical that supports the body, they might be taking the approach of it like this, like in calcium and mineral supplements, they support building bone, and other things that support a healthy heart, and omega-3s are very good for supporting brain and brain function and the nervous system. Maybe that's the way that they're doing. They're extraordinary claims, more bold than I would care to make, because I would sooner rule on the safe side. But the proof of the pudding is in the eating, and so as I looked at this science and the remarkable things that it was doing, and the relationships that they were talking about on the studies with the astragalosides was, and not just from them, but from others, where they're saying that they should return cognitive functions to that of a younger person. In other words, an older person, when you get up close to 80, you've lost 20-25% of your brain volume, I think, on an average. Alzheimer's and dementia is a very good indication of that happening, but it happens pretty well with everyone. And what they're saying in their animal studies, and what they think will happen with adults, and they're seeing some of that happen with adults right now, is the brain just starts to fill back in. And as it's filling back in and it is refurbishing itself with vital new cells that are replacing the old dead ones that have died and gone away, you're supporting a healthy brain. And as that happens, you start suddenly thinking clearer. And they're believing the thought processes. An adult can come down from an aged person, might think like they're 20 to 30 years old again. And they have good indication of that happening, and people are saying that. So it's really quite remarkable. And then they're looking at many of the degenerative diseases that occur as the body deteriorates with age, and they're saying, well, those things may not happen with this, because if the body's healthy, they don't occur. So you're not talking about disease prevention with this thing. You're talking about just keeping a healthy body, so the degenerative things that happen to your body just don't occur. Now, you could go farther and you could be more bold, but I'm not going to do that. We're going to keep this thing safe so that we can sell this product. We don't have the Federal Trade Commission and the FDA, and I know we've got a lot of people on from other countries that are here, even from Japan, that are listening. And so we want to be in compliance, because this is going to be a global product for us. So as we looked upon what it was doing with all of these effects, they said, well, we're going to start testing it on people with fibromyalgia and MS and many things like this that are dementia, a big one. But the other thing they're saying is that it's so supportive to all types of tissues. And they said it should support your facial features. You know, as you get older, you start to not just develop thinner skin and wrinkles and blotchy skin and all those things, aged skin, but underneath that, the muscle structures and everything lose tone and viability like you had when you were young. And they said this should support the body so that those physical features that you have, it's not going to change your bone, of course, with that, but muscle and tissues and things like that, you should have a sense, you should have a vitality in them, and they can take this and they can start to rebuild themselves to as they were and maintain themselves like when you were younger. And you could see, this is a theory, not right now with some of this, but we think it certainly showed it in animals, and you'll have to extrapolate that. And because of DSHEA, which is a Dietary Supplemental Health Education Act, we can reference some of those to show you where it's happening. And with animals, they looked old, they acted old when their telomeres units were about gone, and when they put telomerase in them, then the telomere units, you could see them rebuild, and then they acted young. They looked young, and you know what? I believe they were young. And so the other thing that's very good is with the Food and Drug Administration, they say aging is not a disease. So when somebody dies, if they're 70 or 80 years old and they die in that range, they never say they died of old age. They might say they died of something that was an incident to age, but essentially it's degeneration due to a number of different factors that have degenerated in your body. But suppose your body had never degenerated away, or suppose your body was able to restore itself, just like you can build a muscle through exercise, or that you can build stronger bones through the right type of mineral complexes and things like that. Suppose the astragalosides that come from astragalus, the body will take them in and it will use it just like they use calcium to build bones, or omega-3 to improve the eyes. It will use it for telomere support, and the telomeres will start to revitalize themselves and restore themselves in strength and number as they were when you were younger. Then what do you think is going to happen to your body? Well, I think we already know what is happening. It's happening. Their doctors are already seeing it with TA65 and some of these others. Now, our big issue is we can't make the claims that they can. We don't want to make those claims, and I'm not sure whether they can or they can't legally, but they're making them. But we need to talk about support. But the things they're talking about is their support talking about gray hair going away. They're talking about vision coming back, and hearing improving, and skin becoming young-looking, and wrinkles just seeming to disappear, and health and vitality and muscles and organs and all of this coming back, and energy levels and all of those things that you had when you were young. Guess what, folks? It's reversing aging. And since aging is not a disease, here we have a product that can support the body to reverse aging, support telomeres so that it can support the body in reversing aging. Tell me if you do not think that that is not the single greatest discovery in the history of human health. I think it is. I mean, certainly you can take anti-aging supplements and you can take antioxidants, and they fight some of these things that are causing major things that are causing us to age, and perhaps we can slow down the aging process. And I think the FDA says you can say that with these kinds of things. Well, how about if we support it in areas to where the body can take it and reverse aging? I mean, what is that? I mean, that is magic. That is the fountain of youth. Of course, people won't live forever, but that is really the fountain of youth. Now, you got to have a few other things to go with it, but here is doing something that has never been done before in the history of the world. Maybe the ancient Chinese knew how to do it. I don't know, because they had some people that lived and their ages were recorded up to around 240 years old. So what did they do? How did they go past those 60 replications that the cells are limited to? Was it that telomerase was doing that? Well, a lot of this research actually came out of cancer research. Cancer researchers were looking at cancer, and I don't know if a lot of you aren't aware that a cancer cell never dies. It never dies until it kills you. It just grows and grows and grows, and it duplicates at a very fast rate. And so as they're looking at cancers, they're discovering what was happening here. They discovered the keys to cancer cells duplicating and never running out of telomeres was that when that DNA breaks that causes them to lose control of their duplication is they also start reproducing at an abnormally fast rate, and instead of the telomere units getting used up as the body or the cells are duplicating at such a fast rate, they just keep getting rebuilt because the cells kick on telomerase. It's one of the fatal flaws within cancer. But telomerase does not carry cancer or cause cancer. It just carries it on, so it becomes literally immortal until it kills you. And the rest of the cells in your body are low telomerase. So researchers looked at this and they said, well, now, so if we inject telomerase into an animal or into a human and we increase the telomerase rate, what will it do to a cancer cell? And what they found out is nothing. Because it already has enough telomerase in it that it makes no effect. It's like putting the gas pedal down in your car and you're going as fast as you can go. If you push it through the floorboard, you won't go any faster. You're just maximum speed, and that's the way cancer cells are responding. But what they did is they noticed the other cells that are so old and so decrepit, and your own natural immune system and cancer-fighting systems that your body naturally has and that are so good when you're young, that starts to divide like crazy for 9 months until the baby's born. And during that period of time, 5,000 of those 15,000 telomere units are gone. They're just flat out gone. And so the baby's born, it's got 10,000 units. And so now they equate that as they're looking through the different ages that when the body gets down to about 5,000 telomere units on the chromosome, then it no longer has enough units to be able to keep up with the duplication rate of new cells necessary to replenish the old cells that are dying, and you're right there ready to die. And along the way, you get serious age-related decline in your body. You see your muscles start to waste away. You see your hair start to gray, start to get thinner. Skin becomes worse. Fingernail growth slows down. You have more dry mouth. All of the things within you, brain is shrinking. Organs are shrinking. You're not so regenerative, so healthy. Even your face, the muscles start slipping, contours start changing, vision goes away, hearing gets very bad. All of those things are happening, and many, many more. Energy, vitality, sex drive, all of those things are gone. And whoa, wait till you hear this one. In some of the animal studies they had done with mammals, they found out that animals that could no longer reproduce, that were too old, let's say postmenopausal for a term, actually they went back through and became pregnant again. So I don't know all the consequences of this one, but ladies, maybe you better watch out with this one. You might be in the baby business again if you're not real careful. I don't know, and I can't say, but they said they certainly did it in animals, and they said that possibility is really there because of the reversal of the age process. So does this mean, I mean, I hope it doesn't mean that an 80 or 90-year-old woman's going to get pregnant, my God. But who knows? How would you like to be 60 or 7 now? Guess what, honey? I think I'm going to have a baby. So, well, maybe you won't care. Maybe you'll both be going back in time and say, well, okay, we're going back. We can start over again and have the joys and happiness of a family again. I don't know all the answers to that, but it's such extraordinary stuff that what possibilities are there? Here we're talking about something that telomerase, the telomeres produce. If you have enough telomerase in your system, then the cycles seem to be endless that the cell can go through. And so this 60 cycle, of course they don't know, it's only 2 years, but they think that you can go through that 60 cycles and just keep going and going and going. So if you have in your age, from birth at 10,000 units and at death about 5,000 units left, we are in some number that is between 10,000 and 5,000 for most of us. And the few that make it through 100, all of them have high levels of telomerase, and they don't have that CMV, that virus. And so there's a big connection right there, really a big one. And in all of the animal studies that they're doing, these animals are returning to youthful animals with all the vitality, the vigor, the looks, everything about them is being restored to where they were younger. And these are mammals, and they're saying, well, you know what? Now we're seeing those same indicators happening in humans. Vision coming back, skin coming back, gray hair going away. And I've been using this product now for about a year, just starting. I started on a weaker version. There's 2 types of ingredients that can support telomeres really quite effectively. And I found one of them about 15 years ago, and I brought it out because it was from India. It came from Bacapa, and these bacasides actually were very powerful for the brain, and especially in supporting people who were becoming very aged and dementia and things like that were occurring, poor memory, all of that, and you could just see dramatic changes coming within the people. But at that time, 15 or 20 years ago, science wasn't advanced enough to know all the things that we're doing, except it came out of Ayurvedic medicine out of India, and they said it was very helpful for maintaining a young, youthful brain. Well, now, guess what? It's a lot more than that. And so then out of China, they had the traditional Chinese medicine, and they were using astragalus for things somewhat similar to that. So you had 2 technologies that were coming along. So here, Genron comes in, and they do the research on this, and they're saying, boy, astragalosides are really the answer, but they're expensive. It takes about 6,000 pounds to extract about 2 pounds of the astragalosides, the extract. So 3 tons to get 2 pounds. If you can manage, so it's a lot of raw material, and that leaves us into a problem we're going to talk about fairly shortly. That is supply. So with it, they're selling it through the doctors and doing extremely well, as you can imagine. But it's $219 for, if you're in the smaller group, then $400, then $600, then $800. So as I took a look at this, and I put a great amount of research into the science that's there, they cannot patent a natural ingredient. And as a consequence, we're not violating their patent. And their patent is for drug claims, all of them. And so what we're going to do is we're going to bring it out, and we're going to say our product, which we're going to call TSX, which is Telomere Support Extreme, because the concentrations are so extremely high in this, that we'll have telomere support far beyond what they have with their TA65. It's the astragaloside products that are out. And then on the other hand, there's a firm that was out of Reno that started researching all of this, and they found, they verified what the astragalosides could do, and worked with them on their patent and license with them from Geron to get the patent to develop a product, and then they turned around and licensed it to another company, TA Sciences, so that then they went to a fourth entity that produced the product, and then they sell it to a fifth entity, the doctors, who sell it to the customers, a sixth entity, and guess what you got? A lot of markups, a lot of fingers in the pie, and it's very, very expensive when you get done with it. But it ain't cheap anyway, folks. It's about $92,000 for a kilo, and the price is going up. So you use a certain amount of it, but it makes it doggone expensive. So we took a look at the bacicides because there's science on that, and the same company in Reno had done that, and so they took the bacicides and they went out and licensed it to another company who has it produced by another company for them, and then they sell it to distributors and to retailers. And so they have a bacicides product, and it's a good one. I would say not great, but good. And they're taking that license science that they have. And then so the director that had developed some of that was licensed in and doing the work for it also approached me and approached me through a third party. I haven't talked to him directly. And they said, well, we have a better science than what that is that we can offer you, and would like to contract with you to provide this science. Well, a little bit of research, and I'd already been looking at it, and I already knew it was the stragglicides. So I went and I got the stragglicides. I got all of the research, and I went back to China, because I went to China in 1988. I went to companies that are doing this type of thing, and wham, you know what we found? We got the company that is doing the astragalicides extract that is used in this TA65. At least we believe that's the company. They said they were. And we've dealt with them for a long time. And we said, can we buy this astragalocide concentrate? And they said, yes, expensive, but you can buy it. We had a good record, and they let us take it. So we've got it. We've got it here now in-house. So then we looked at the bacicide science, and it takes a lot more of bacicides to support telomeres. It's not nearly as hot a product as it is, but it does work. And so I don't know, the science is so new, which is the best one? How about using both of them? How about using both of them in higher concentrations with it? And because I can buy direct, and because we manufacture, we own the candy factory. So since we can manufacture, what I've done is I have combined both sciences into one. And the stragglicides is the A product, and the bacicides is the B product as far as I'm concerned. But when you put A and B together, I think you get A+, especially when you use higher doses. And I have a patented delivery system that we're going to put into it to increase higher levels that gets absorbed in the blood system, I believe. That's what we're going to attempt to do with this. And so what I have is, if you look at the TA65, the astragalocide product that's out there, that's so dynamic and doing so much, we're going to have about 30% more, actually over 30%. Yeah, we'll test it once we get it made, but in the amounts that we're using in it, we're about 32% more, and so you'll be a third more power in it with that. And then we looked at the bacicides product, and we think we're going to be somewhere in the range of, very conservatively, at least 3 times, and I believe probably will be 5 or 6 times greater concentration, the bacicides that's in the other product. You put them both together, what do you have? You have immense power. You have extreme support for the telomeres. So that product now is coming out. I'm talking fast because I want to leave about 15 minutes here in the call before we go on. But so now we have both products coming out. We have an antioxidant support, and we have some other support ingredients. Telomerin is important, and you'll see it. Telomerin, potato, however you want to pronounce it. But telomerin is one major ingredient that's in it, and we have antioxidants in it, because antioxidants, they find the telomeres, and they're like hot spots. They just burn them out real quick. But the one thing we do have is Spectramax already, which is absolutely mega power for antioxidants and gives you such a strong shield. I don't think any antioxidants could get through. But we put some in the formulation, too, for people that don't use Spectramax. But Spectramax you should have, because it's got that and all the essential trace minerals and nutrients that are essential for biological activity and have to support it. So we have those. So that combination that we're putting together has immense power within it. And so because we buy direct, because we manufacture, I'm able to bring this product out at a tremendous price. And yes, unlike the bacticide products being sold by another company, it's an okay product. I don't think you're going to go wrong, but you're not going to go as right or nearly have the dynamic results, I believe, that we're going to have with the product that we're bringing out, because we have so much more of it in ours. And then we have so much, then we have, they don't carry the astragalosides, and we have a mega dose of that in comparison to the ones that the doctors are selling. So we're ready to launch this son of a gun, and yes, we're going to do it the right way. This company selling bacticide, they just say take so many of these, take 4 of these pills, a day, and you got 30-day supply, you got 120 pills, and you get what you need. But I looked at the person that developed it, the person that came to me with this other science, and I found out on some sites where he's taking a lot more of it. He says he's taking a lot more of it. Well, if this is the researcher that did it, why is he taking more? Obviously, because it's just like what TA65 are saying in their astragalosides, it's dose dependent. But the company selling it through network marketing isn't addressing that. So if you're 80 and you're taking the dose that a 30-year-old is taking, or if you're 70 or 60, you're probably not getting enough, in my opinion. So here we've got a mega formulation that we're bringing out with extraordinary power and effectiveness. And guess what, folks? We're going to let you order it here the 1st of February, and we're going to release it on February 15th. So here we have the product that can literally, we believe, support reversing aging, support the telomere units. Can you support them so that muscle, or so that it rebuilds the way that muscle or bone with the right type of proteins or the right type of calcium and mineral content? Yes, we believe we can. The science is showing that as you provide this type of super nutrient to the body, that telomere units start to increase in number and viability. And you'll see that when you go onto the web sites, or you see these DVDs that we're putting around, and these are third party. And so one of the very world's leading theoretical physicists took a look at this, and he was saying what an extraordinary discovery. Now, it isn't his field. He's a theoretical physicist, and he's a Chinese guy or Japanese guy. You'll see him all the time on Nature and on programs about the universe, because he's brilliant. So we took a look at this, and Aubrey de Grey, the world's leading researcher in the field of longevity and anti-aging, and he's saying it's such an extraordinary product too. But the Japanese physicist, he said this. He said it's a great discovery, but you need one other thing with it. And he said what you need to do, he says, is you're going to have to go into starvation mode, because while you could be rebuilding telomere units, to get this regeneration, those sirtuin genes need to be supported, need to be activated. And he said only starvation does that. Now, that showed me one thing, and this video is a little bit old, but it shows me he's not aware of what Harvard University found out with resveratrol and 3 other compounds that support the sirtuin genes. This is why they're on Oprah and all those places saying you live to be 125, 150 years old, because you can turn on the genes that you had when you were young. And so that massive regeneration is supported. Well, we have eternity, and it is jam-packed with those mega doses of those ingredients they tested at Harvard. It's not Harvard's formula, and we can't say it reactivates the sirtuin genes. What we can say is what we can say, and that is you have massive support for the sirtuin genes, the genes that grew you, that switched off when you were grown. And so this physicist is saying, boy, if you got telomerase, all you have to do is starve yourself. But who's going to do that to activate the sirtuin genes? And we're saying you don't have to do it. Here we can do it. It's showing right now that the telomerase support ingredients are providing the nutrients so that telomere units now are going backwards. It's like the time machine. It's going backwards in time. They're building vitality, gray hair, brain, thinking, energy, muscles, bones, skin, face, organs, all of this going back in time. And now the regenerative genes that take you there now can be supported with eternity. 1 and 1 is 10. Or how about 1 and 1 is 30 when you think about that? How about 30 forever? How about 40 forever? Does that sound pretty good? It sounds great to me, and I tell you what, I'm headed that direction, and I'm getting there fast. So here's the program that we're going to do. We're going to bring this out, but we we have limited supplies because it grows in the northern climes of at least the astragaloside seed, the astragalus of China. That growing season is over, and what's been produced is produced. We're buying up everything. We bought up everything we could for this first batch, and now we found another batch so that we think we can support about 5,000 people for a year that's on it. Now, how much more we can find, how much more can we buy some, can we send it back, can we get it from other sources and send in, have it extract and come back? Yeah, probably, maybe. But when the other season comes, we're telling them, grow it, but it comes from a root, and it takes 2 years for the root to develop. And then they take cuttings off the roots, so holy cow, we got to do something here. So when we're coming out, we can't have people coming out on this thing. We can't have gray hair going away, skin improving like crazy, age and vitality, eyesight coming back. Sorry, we're back ordered. Good Lord, you know what that would do for the program. So what we're going to do is we're going to guarantee 5,000 people for a year. And you know what? We've got people, so we've got a program coming on. You can order it. And we sent a blast out. It's there now, and it shows what the pricing is. If you want to get a very good discount, now it's going to have a $150 retail price. That's for selling it retail. If you want to turn around, and this is super concentration. There are only 30 tablets in this, but it's so highly concentrated. They're big tablets, of course, or capsules rather. And we're the ones at the backside. You have 4 little tablets that you take every day, but with lots of other stuff in it. So, but the essential ingredient, the backasides are okay. We're going to have a megadose of those, 3 to maybe 5 or 6 times more than that. And then we're going to put the astragalosides in. 32% more is what we're putting in the formulation than what they have. So this thing, you'll take 1 capsule, and that will be enough to do. It'll greatly exceed all of these others together. So we got to put some rules in place, and here's what we're going to do. Some people are going to want to buy 1. That's $125 for a distributor. Second, if you want to buy 3 or more, it's $99.95. So you could buy 3, 4, 5, whatever you wanted. If you want to buy a year's supply, you can buy 11 months at $99.95, and the 12th month is free. So you buy 12 and you pay for the price of 11. And there are people right now, I can tell you, lots of them that are looking at wanting to buy the year because they want to ensure the fact that they can have enough to get by for this year. Now, we're going to do everything in our power to make sure these 5,000 people can do it. And then, if we get more, we'll add more to it. But we have some problems with it. Number one, we got Japan, and Japan is absolutely on fire. In Japan, this sells for about $800 for a month's supply of just the astragalosides in the lesser concentration in Japan. So, and it's selling over there like crazy. And now here we're going to come in with 32% better with 32% more in it, and then all of the backasides that the other one doesn't even begin to have, and we're going to sell it retail, we're going to sell it distributor price $125. There's a major issue, and we're just not going to sell it to anyone and everyone. And the qualifications are going to be that you have to buy it, but you must be a gold or a platinum on auto purchase. So you've got to be a distributor. You don't have to be a master distributor, but you must have at least 150 gold automatic purchase, AP, or 200 platinum, AP. Those are the people that have got skin in the game, that are really building this business, and they're the ones we want to have it from the beginning to make sure they get the first 500. So the application, which we are going to release tomorrow, we're going to put it out, and you can sign up, and you can order, but do not send it. And let me tell you, do not send it in until the 1st or the 31st, because if you do, we're going to discard it, and it's like you've done it for nothing. We're not going to take them, and we're not going to hold them. You must wait, but that means you can get through your downlines really quick, because I'm getting so many people that are so upset here from the United States and worried about it, and I'm darn well worried. I'm worried too with the Japanese, and Europe's going to be a little more difficult because you can't just send it not for resale over there. You can to Japan. But here in North America, I want the distributors to have a fighting chance at this thing. So we're going to do that. So on the application, when you sign up for it, we will ship your automatic purchase as gold or platinum, and then we will ship the TSX automatic purchase with it, so you don't have the additional shipping and handling with it. But you must be qualified as auto purchase in either gold or platinum level. in order to be eligible. And there'll be a place on it where you can mark that down. And if you don't, every distributorship is going to be checked. And if you don't have a gold or platinum AP in place, then your order isn't going to be honored. But it should be. I mean, it's got to be for the people that are really committed to do it. So I've run out of time. I wanted to do another, give you 15 minutes or so here to go on and talk. But let me say this to you in conclusion. This is the single greatest discovery in the history of health. This is the kind of product. When you've seen companies come along, and you've seen companies come on with acai and with mangosteen and with noni, and they become a billion-dollar product or a billion-dollar company on products that are mediocre. Come on. Here is one that won the Nobel Prize in 2008. Here is one that's showing right now that it's reversing aging, and click in some eternity with it. That could be part of your auto purchase. Get the Triangle of Life, and you'll have the support you need for revitalizing, for reversing aging. And a year from now, you're going to be such a different person, and 2 and 3 and 5 years from now, where are you going to be? I don't know, but it's not going to be forward. It's going to be way, way back, I believe. We've got this. This is not a billion-dollar product. This is a multi-billion. You know, it might be $5 or $10 billion product. Nobody's got what we have. Nobody's got the price that we have. And I promise you this, I'm putting all my resources in to getting all of the astragalosides I can. When this growing season comes, you're going to hear the sucking noise because we're going to buy every bit of it out of China that we can buy. But we've got to get the market now. We've got to dominate it so that we are the player in it. Nobody has the astragalosides in network marketing. Only one company has the bacosides, and we're much stronger than there, and we got both together. So this is the dream product of a life, and you've got the Triangle of Life with Eternity Spectrum X and Fucoidan to support your biology like crazy. Get signed up on this if you're not on IP. If you are, make sure that you're there and going, and everybody that does it, and let's take off, because this is our moment in time. This is our multi-billion-dollar product that will take the rest of the company with it, and we're on the way to 10 billion plus. We're going to go past Amway and Herbalife like they were standing still. This is the greatest product in the history of the world. In human health, there's never been one like it. We got some competitors, but nowhere near what we are on price and on power. We're on top of it. This is our time. Don't wait. Let's reverse our aging. Let's reverse our financial situation and make both of them younger and vibrant and vital. We got what it takes to do it. There is no company, I think you can see now, there is no company like Sisel in the world. This is the hottest product ever been created for network marketing, and we got it, and we're here. So let's do it together.
Hey, thanks everybody for being on the call. Tom Mower, Sr. I don't think there's anybody like him on the planet. I was getting hit with text messages, Facebook messages. It's floating around the internet right now. We're seeing a lot of viral communication with everybody. It is so exciting to be a part of this incredible company. It's so important and vital to be a part of you, and you be the mouthpieces out there sharing this incredible research and science that Tom Mower has uncovered to formulate into one bottle, into one package, stronger than the others can possibly be. Only Tom can do it, as he's done before. Continues to put the science in where it needs to be put, continues to put the research behind it. So everybody, get your groups growing, start recruiting off of this, show them the opportunity of a lifetime with the products and the science behind it. We look forward to having you as a part of this incredible opportunity and company. So thank you, and look for details coming out over the next couple of days. We'll continue to plug you with as much as we've got. And if you have questions, if you have needs, let us know so that we can help you with anything that you may need to go out there and absolutely explode your market.